Okay, here we are. We're having lots of problems. Not all of us, but some of us are struggling over here. So, I just wanted to say thank you to anybody who is watching the replay or watching us live. I appreciate you showing up. So, um, I want everybody to introduce themselves, introduce your channel, introduce what your parenting situation is, how many kids you have, their ages, stuff like that. And I'll just go first. So, I'm Heather from Hey Booktubes. You found my channel. I have 3 kids. My oldest is turning 9 in the fall, and then I have an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old. And I am a stay-at-home mom. I watch kids and other stuff in my home, but I'm home all the time. All the time. So that is kind of my situation. So
Oh, Bethany from Beautifully Bookish Bethany. I have 2 kids. They are 7 and 4.5. And YouTube and adjacent things are kind of my full-time job. And my other job is the kids. So, like, I work from home, have some childcare, and then also split some time of watching the kids with my husband because who also has a more flexible job. So that's kind of
good.
Hey y'all, I'm Ashley from Bookish Realm. I have one little one, she's almost 2, and I work full time in a library. So she goes to daycare. So Booktube is a side hustle.
Okay.
You say
Hi.
as you're the biggest one here.
Sorry, I was like, how do okay, y'all, I'm seeing everybody's comments, but I don't see I don't know. Never mind. Okay. Hi. My name is Kim. I am Hopi Tewa from the Hopi Nation. I'm Tobacco Clan. I'm Satoa from the village of Tewa. I have a YouTube booktube channel called Native Lady Book Warrior. I have 4 kids. My oldest is 16. The next one is 13, then 11, then 5. Yeah, okay. Sorry. Yeah, but they're growing. They're getting older. And I also have Bookstagram, but I don't really review books. I'm mostly on that platform just to support other creators and to kind of throw stuff on my stories just to say, hey, this is what's going on in the indigenous community. So, yeah, most of the time I review. Hi, Bree. Most of the time I review indigenous authored reads. Not really to any specific genre, but just but I really enjoy sci-fi, fantasy, and lit fic. And I have a partner. He is an indigenous teacher. And what else do we do? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I work. Sorry. I'm just kind of like all over the place. I just got off work, so my brain is trying to make this wonderful transition to the space. But yeah, I work full time also. So I try to create stuff mostly on the weekends or like way into the later hours of the evening. So yep, that's me.
Yeah, so the way I found Kim was Bree from Luck Fictitious. She shared her on Twitter, and I was like, oh, let me watch this video. So I go and watch this video, and it is Kim filming inside a closet because something was happening. I don't even know. And I was just like, oh, I like her. I like this person. Let me subscribe. So, have there been any stages in your parenting where you just couldn't read at all, or you had to make adjustments in order to read, or like specific ways that you read as a parent? Obviously, we're in different stages, but all of us have at least been at the very beginning. And I'm just curious what has been hard or easier for you.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I didn't say for anybody who's like used to my usual setup, we're on vacation, which is why like this is very different from anything you will probably ever see again. But yeah, so I don't know. I started my Booktube channel when my youngest was like 6 months old. So I have never been doing this with a newborn. But I can say that I did not read at all the first few months of having newborns. I marathoned a lot of TV shows. So yeah, like and it's funny looking back because I did track it for my second one. The first like 5 months of the year, I read one book and it was a parenting book. And that was it. And now I read, normally I read like 25 to 30 books a month now, but like that was, yeah. So I don't know. I could say more about it, but like I will say like definitely with newborns, like with sleep deprivation, with like everything, I was not reading at all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay, sorry. It was
fine.
like something's wrong with my computer. So I was doing Booktube before I had my little one. So the adjustment was prior to having her, like, I refused to read ebooks. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, I don't read ebooks. If I don't have the physical copy, it's not getting done. Well, having a newborn and reading a physical book is like daggone near impossible. So when she was a newborn, I really honestly, all I did was read ebooks and listen to audiobooks. And honestly, that behavioral pattern has kept up to now, and she's almost 2. So most of my reading that I do now is from ebooks and audiobooks, and I am less inclined to pick up physical books because it's hard with little ones when they see physical books, because the first thing they want to do is they want one too. And at 2, she's incapable of handling a physical book without tearing it. Like I have covers missing from books. There's crayons. The defacing of my personal collection has been at an all-time, it's been at an all-time high about now. So I would love to read a physical book, but I think that I have become so accustomed to making those adjustments because I have her that now I'm so used to doing those 2 formats as opposed to physical.
Yeah.
I've actually only been on Booktube a little more than a year, and I jumped on because of COVID, and the rates of COVID were high in my community, and I think also just us staying home because we really wanted to protect not only our youth but our elder community, and I think like any other community out there, we lost so many people, and so my way to kind of get through that time was, well, one, just reading. And then my kids were actually the one who really, my daughters, who really pushed me to start a Booktube channel. And they actually set everything up for me. They made my graphics, and it was really cool just watching them work, and it was pretty interesting. And it was like, okay, how do I do this? And they're like, they're just eye roll the entire time. Like, mom, you're so like old, you don't know like what Instagram is or BookTok or Bookstagram. And I was like, no. So it was very cool just to have my kids cheering me on and saying, you should do this. And I think just having fun with it. I think when I first started, I was just so nervous. I was horrible. I hate watching those first videos like that I came out with. And then seriously, like no joke, the first time I started filming, and then my son was screaming from the bathroom, like I'm in the middle of a book review, and he's like, "Mommy, come wipe my butt." I was like, "Oh my gosh, for real? You're gonna do this now?" So I get up. I was like, "Okay," and it's so funny because I still have the footage, and I didn't pause it. I was like, Mommy's trying to film and all this stuff. He's like, sorry, I poop on my butt. So it was like, and he was learning how to potty train. So it's kind of funny, but
Yeah.
it was, I think for me, reading is usually difficult when we have a lot of stuff going on. So I just recently moved and I had no time to read. Packing up stuff for a family of 6 it sucked. And I mean, even now, I'm living in my mom's house right now because the home we were moving into, because out in the indigenous communities, they actually have teacher housing. So that's where we're at. So I'm making a transition to a different reservation where my husband's going to teach, but the home wasn't ready for us. So we were living with my mom, just kind of like pulling out of boxes, and I couldn't find any of my books. Like I packed a box where it says, okay, this is going in the house, and I don't know where it's at. It was just crazy. So I actually started, I think it was Bree, Block Petition. She was the one, was it her or, but they're like, oh, you should just get Libby. And so I finally got Libby. So now I'm reading a lot of audio, a lot of ebooks now, and it's just so much more convenient. The only thing that sucks about it is when I have a physical book, it looks like I'm at work. Like I have Post-its, I have flags, I have pens, I highlight even stuff in my books, because especially if it's an indigenous read and I want to review it. But I'm not like you all. I don't have tiny little people in tiny little people in my home. The kids are actually pretty good about respecting my time when I'm reading, unless chaotic, like around dinner time. Like can't read around dinner time. It's just like crying and kids fighting, or in the morning when they're going to school. But yeah, so I think it's been an adventure so far. So like right now, I haven't reviewed anything in a while just because there's been so much going on in the indigenous community with the discoveries, with not discoveries, but the bodies that were dug up, and then on top of that, we have cultural ceremonies going on out here, so that's a whole nother thing. And so it's just and then me moving and then work, so it's just like pile on pile. So right now I haven't been creating anything just because it's been chaotic, but once we get stable again in a home, no boxes everywhere and kids fighting each other and crying about saying they can't find their underwear and stuff, then I think it'll be a lot more I'll have the time to
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Anytime that you have a big life event like that, besides anything else going on, it's
a lot.
Free time goes out the window.
I do think audiobooks were a game changer for me. I started listening to them a couple years ago, and that's been amazing. Because, I know Ashley was talking about this, but similarly, like, I pretty much only read physical books at night when my kids are sleeping or when they're in school. Otherwise, it's pretty much audio and like audiobooks or ebooks, mostly audiobooks, because it doesn't. Yeah, like it's hard to do that.
Okay, so I want to circle back to audiobooks when I'm done explaining my stuff. So remind me, because I have questions for you people. Okay, so I read all growing up, right? And then, but it was all physical. I read the whole time I was pregnant with my first. And then I didn't read anything for like years. years and years and years. And then I had like a weird perfect storm of events, I feel like. So my third pregnancy, I have kind of high risk pregnancies. I have complications, all sorts of stuff. But my third one, in the third trimester, I managed to do something to my leg, and because your ligaments and everything are all loosened up to help give birth, it just wouldn't fix itself. So I was in therapy and stuff, physical therapy. Well, that was great, except like the first time I moved wrong after a therapy session, I would be in pain again. So I was on the couch like all the time. Power, please don't go out on me. But anyways, I was on the couch all the time and I wasn't reading anything. I was bored out of my mind and I wasn't reading anything. And then like right after my daughter was born, I went to the library or something. I don't know. And I read Sarah J. Maas books. I saw the cover of Throne of Glass in my library and I was like, oh, I like this. This is cool. Let me read this. And then I read like all the YA fantasy that I hadn't already read that my library had within like a month. Mind you, I have a newborn and I'm reading physically. So the reason for this, I'm convinced. I'm with two of my babies. I have had postpartum depression, and it's been the type, I feel like, where I can take the questionnaire that they give you, that screening to make sure that you don't have postpartum depression at your doctor's appointments, and I can check all of those honestly, and it looks like I'm fine. And I'm not fine. I'm like disconnected and, you know, overwhelmed and stuff. But I'm not like so sad. I'm not thinking about harming anybody. I'm not like, I don't want to do this. I'm just disconnected. So for months, I was reading a book a day, a couple books a day, and like I took care of my kids, right? They were still had all their basic needs met, but I was annoyed that I had to put the book down and take care of the basic needs. And I'm talking like lunch and changing the diaper, you know, like really basic stuff. So I did, and I found Booktube because I was looking for books by Sarah J. Maas. So all of a sudden, I had a million book recommendations, and I was very disconnected from my life. I didn't want to deal, I think, is where I was. So then I found ebooks and romance, and then I could read all the time on my phone because by that point, my baby was like 3 months old. Now she doesn't just snap so much because she was a really good baby. She was helpful to me. But so I was doing all these ebooks, and my husband was kind of like, "You're reading a lot. Like maybe you should hang out with your family." And I was in a place where I recognized that he was right, but I didn't want to hear it because mentally I didn't want to deal. I didn't want to come out. So after a while of being there, I kind of just fell back into life. And I think it's honestly hormone levels going away after being in nursing and stuff like that. Yeah. But so I read a ton when my youngest was little, and I didn't read at all when my others were little. So I read ebooks for sure. That is 100% how I read. So I did have this period of time where I was using reading. Oh, she's back. Okay. Where in an unhealthy way, right? But ebooks are the only way that I can read with kids. In fact, I don't buy physical books, mainly because kids destroy them, and also money, and also I read on ebooks. So I just did a vlog where I read all of my physical books, which was like 4. It was like nothing crazy. And so I have read so I just read those 4. Before that, I read maybe 2 other physical books this year. Like it doesn't happen. So my question for you with the audiobooks is, I cannot listen to audiobooks because I get so annoyed with my children because I can't hear the book. So then I'm like, okay, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. So I haven't tried listening to one in like 3 years. I tried like 3 times and I was like, no, I can't do this. So how do you guys parent and listen to your book? Because I know you do, and I can't, apparently.
So these are great because I can tap them to pause the book and then tap it to go back on. AirPods
what
were
you
a
do.
great investment. I mean, yeah. So like I'll listen. Well, the other thing too is I'll listen like going grocery shopping or like cleaning or cooking dinner or at the playground when the kids don't need me and I can keep my eyes on what they're doing. And then if I need to pause it, I just tap it to pause.
Right.
Do what I need to do and then like restart it. So that's,
What about you, Ashley? Because I know you listen to audiobooks all the time.
I do all the time. But I'm like Bethany too. I have my headphones that I could just tap to pause. Plus, my commute is a little longer, so it takes me an hour by the time I drop her off at daycare and I go to work. It's an hour drive every single day. So right there, she doesn't mind listening to. I mean, I'm very selective about what audiobook I'm playing whenever we are going wherever and she's in the car. And then two, with my new position now, I have a little bit more flexibility where I can listen to audiobooks as I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
So for the past 2 weeks, I've been flying through stuff. But yeah, plus she's still younger. She's not 2 yet. So bedtime is still pretty early. So while I'm getting ready for the next day, whether that's cleaning up the kitchen, getting clothes out for the next day, or, cleaning up her toys, those are my perfect opportunities to listen to audiobooks. So I'm sure that'll change once she gets a little bit older and the environment changes. But for right now, because she's so young, I can get away with it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I will say too, I also will do it during screen time. So like usually around 4, we let them either watch a show or play games on the computer on a laptop or a Kindle. And so like if they're doing that, like I'm listening to an audiobook for like an hour. So I mean, and I listen at fast speed, so I'm able to get through quite a lot. And they're, sometimes they'll fight and I'll have to like pause it and break things up or whatever. But for the most part, like they're pretty focused on what they're doing. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I live in a very, very, very rural, or can you guys hear me? I just wanted to double check. Okay. I live in a very rural community. So for me to go get groceries, it's a 2-hour drive. So I usually just listen on the way back, because most of the time no one likes to go with me. I think my husband will go with me and he'll drive. Then that's when I pull out my physical book or just my phone and read on there, or my Kindle or e-reader, or I don't know what you call it. But yeah, so but for a while I just wasn't being smart in the beginning. I was trying to read while my kids were at the wildest of their day, which is usually before we have to eat, or I don't know, just when they're getting all crazy. But and I was like, okay, I shouldn't be listening to an audiobook, for instance, when I'm getting dinner ready, because then they won't leave me alone, or I'm not going to hear them fighting, or I'm not going to hear them if they need something. So kind of like you all, I kind of designate certain times where I will listen to an audiobook. Sometimes when I'm for a physical book, now I used to take so many notes, but now instead of doing the post-it notes, I have like a journal, and I'll put the book on top and I'll take notes that way. And I'll be like, okay, this is plot point, whatever. And no, Sparky, stop. Sorry, my dog, he's getting all crazy. And yes, but so I do really, really love a physical book, but I'm like running out of space for them. And like, so when we moved, I gave away almost 30 books. I was just like, here, take them. So it was kind of crazy. People coming over just to pick up books, and I just put them on Facebook, like first come, first serve. So that's usually when I listen to an audiobook. But sometimes I can't just have like the one ear in, because then I get distracted by whatever. So I usually have to put both in, and then I'll have just certain times, like when it's most quiet, then I'll listen to audiobook.
Do you guys deal with any guilt when it comes to reading or booktube creation? Or, Ashley, I know you're going to shake your head yes to this. Do you deal with anybody trying to shame you for how much you read or creating content when you have children?
Bethany, you want to take this one first?
Oh my gosh.
Because Bethany reads a lot too.
Oh, I read a lot. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of people asking how, and sometimes it's like this passive aggressive, like, oh, that's so great that you can devote so much time to your hobby when you have kids. And I'm like, okay. But how much time do you spend like scrolling through social media and watching TV? Like, really, can we like, I don't know. Yeah, no, it's interesting. I don't feel guilty about it. I think the thing is it's like, if my kids need me, I will drop what I'm doing and be there for them. You know, I mean, like, they're obviously the priority, but
right.
Like, it's also really important, I think, for kids to have a parent who is happy and taking care of their own mental health. And I'm somebody who deals with anxiety. I also had postpartum depression, looking back. And I think actually starting my YouTube channel is part of what helped me like get through that after my second. And like, that's important. And I also just believe it's important too, because like, I don't know, like whether you're raising girls or boys, I have 2 boys, either way, I think it's important. But like raising boys, I also feel like it's important to be like, for me, this is also my job now. And so I'm like, yeah, this is part of my job. I read books, I review books, I make videos, I do podcasts, I do like other related stuff. And so like, they know that like dad has an office he goes to where he works and he does his thing. Mom has her own job and both of us have to work sometimes. But if you need us, we're here for you. We have family time where we're together. You know what I mean? Like, I think all of that is important and healthy, and also modeling like what, because this is the thing too, I feel like, is, you know, I'm raising these boys and I'm like, I want you to one day, like, if you decide you want to marry a woman, you know, they can figure that out when they get older, but like, if that's what they do, like, I want you to be feminist men who are supportive of your wife and whatever she chooses to do. And like, me constantly being available and taking care of everything all the time is not going to help you do that, you know? So like, I'm not here to raise children. I'm here to raise adults who are like good members of society. And I think that's important. So I don't know. I don't feel guilty about it. And I know where my priorities are and I feel good about where they are. And you know, the flip side of it is I watch like 1 to 12 weeks of TV maybe. Like, reading is also my entertainment. So I just think a lot of people don't realize how much reading you can do if you choose to make it a priority.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, I agree with all your stuff.
It's interesting because I have to a certain level, especially now. My work now that I do, as opposed to what I was doing before, is acquisitions. So, you know, my sole focus now is purchasing materials. So I do have to, as part of my job now, I do have to read so much, just to make sure I'm keeping up, or at least I'm aware of what's going on. Not that I wasn't aware before, but it's a little bit more intense. And read, love, listen, definitely just mate. That's the next point I was going into, is from the work that I do, my perspective and what I've always been taught when I went to library school is that one of the most important things when children are learning to read is to see parents, or what we say they're big people who are around to see that behavior, that modeling behavior, because they're more inclined to sit down and pick up something because they see whoever is their caretaker or guardian doing it, and they also want to partake. But even with me being so heavily involved, not just in Booktube, but on the librarian side, even there are librarians who were like, how do you, like, you read that much? Like, what do you do? I've had somebody tell me I need to live my life because I'm not living. And it was across social media, and it was across Facebook. And I have too many people from work who follow me across Facebook as opposed to Twitter, or else I would have laid them bare. But I didn't get the opportunity to do that. So I think people have this misconception, especially because I think they're not a part of our community, that if you read as much as we read, then that means that you don't parent or you don't have a life. And it's like, but like Bethany said, how many of y'all sit down on your couch and you watching TV 2-3 hours? And that time that you watch a TV show for 2 or 3 hours, for those of us who listen to audiobooks on 2-point speed, we practically finishing a book. So, and we make adjustments. Like, people don't realize, because people ask me, like, how do you read so much? And I'm a single mom. So that becomes a huge thing where people are like,
Right.
well, if it's just the two of y'all, how are you reading so much? Then people don't believe that I read that much. And it's like, you can multitask, or there are ways that you can utilize your time to read. Like we talked about, using, audiobooks when you're in the car or when you're cleaning up and you're doing dishes. But people don't think about that time that you can use. But I really respect people who are in the community who do stuff like that, because it shows how structured you are as a person, and that you're willing to make any minute that you have count. I'm sorry, we're all given the same 24 hours, but how you use it and how I use it just may be different. So, when people usually confront me about how much I read, I think I get a little hostile. I try not to, but I get a little hostile, because it's just like, this is our passion point. This is what we enjoy doing. This is what we love. Right. It's not conventional. It's not what people would necessarily consider a hobby, but it is our hobby, and it's something that we like to do. For a lot of us, it is a coping mechanism. It is a way to help us through really, really tough times. I know when I feel very, when I can feel very cut off or isolated, or I'm not having a good moment, I know that being somewhere else in a different world is a good place for me to be in that moment. So, I don't pay them no. People need to mind a business that pays them, and mine is not putting any coins in your pockets.
Yeah. I think that one of the biggest reasons why people do criticize how much we read as parents or whatever is because they're taking their life and all of the stuff that fills up their day, and maybe they don't have kids, or maybe they do, but they're taking their life and they're adding all of your reading on top of what they're filling in their life, and that's not how it works. It's swapping things out, but they're just like, no, you can't do it. You must not be taking care of the important stuff. And people genuinely don't realize how much time they waste. All of us do it. It's a thing.
Yeah, for me, I think it was I actually had my family, my kids and my spouse specifically actually pushed me into this hobby, because I was killing myself at work. I sometimes would wake up, because I work from home. Our organization doesn't have an office just yet. So sometimes I would wake up at 7, maybe take an hour lunch, maybe not, and then maybe sit with my family at dinner and then go back to work again, sometimes working into the evening. And I think my kids were concerned about me, because I just wasn't handling a lot of it well. Right. So they were just like, Mom, why don't you try something different? And see, I don't know if it's, I'm an Aries, so I pick up something and I get bored really quick. So I tried doing the bullet journal stuff. I tried doing the, what do you call the photo albums where you put the stickers in there?
Scrapbooks.
I tried scrapbooking. I just wanted to do all these different things, and then nothing never stuck. But one thing that always stuck with me was reading anything. And I think another thing was where I'm at, I always felt alone in it. I felt like I was the only one who was in my area that was really passionate about reading and reading as much as I did. So I felt like also I wanted to find community. I wanted to find people other specifically Indigenous readers and content creators who also were just as passionate about reading than like I was. And I feel like I found it as a way to connect with others. So I think when I found, no, actually, Aaron from Aaron's library on Bookstagram and Brody and Michelle, they actually found me, and they were kind of like, "Hey!" And it was such an awesome thing, and I learned so much from them in like this whole process. I didn't even know what a tag was, and then I didn't know what reading sprints were, so they kind of brought me in and just said, "Yeah, this is what." I was like, what the heck is Bookstagram? Is that like another app? Do I have to download it? Or I was just so new to a lot of, because when people like that, when I tell people, yeah, I have a 16-year-old daughter. She's graduating from high school this year, and they're like, oh my, like, how young are you? So they automatically assume I'm like, I'm almost 40. I'm almost there, but so that's why a lot of these things I don't really know about. Especially Twitter, I didn't really know how to tweet anything. I was just on there just reading everybody else's stuff, but I didn't know how to tweet myself. So I didn't really have any guilt picking up anything. And my kids were, if anything, and my family, they were actually pushing me to do it. So yeah, it's kind of funny. But in terms of other people though, it was wow. So especially in my community, they were just like, wow, you're putting up a lot of stuff. And it was passive aggressive. It wasn't like, that's awesome. It was like, how much time does it take you to read a book? How much time are you filming? And then how much time does it take to edit all of that? Like, when do you see your kids? Yeah. And I was like, it's not like that. Like sometimes you saw me filming in my closet because I had nowhere else to film. It was in the middle of the night. I didn't want to wake up anybody, and I'm filming in my closet, and then I'm editing till like sometimes 2 a.m. because I have to, like you all, have to get up and get my kids ready for the next day and get to work and all that good stuff, right? So I think that also shows that this, well, for me, it's just something that I really enjoy. And I get all excited when I'm uploading a video, even though it takes forever with my res internet, but I'm like, ooh, yeah, like I still get kind of excited when I upload something. But I don't know. I was never made for, I think when other people were coming up to me with all of these questions, trying to make me feel bad, I always had my family saying, you don't need to. Like, don't worry about them. Like, you are good. You're a good mom. You're a good parent. You're there for us. And that's all I needed. So I think, yeah, I was good with that. So.
Yeah, I think all of us struggle to feel like we're a good parent sometimes. And sometimes you really just need somebody who has some idea what they're talking about because they know you to be like, no, you are doing good. You're fine. You're okay. I know. So I mentioned having postpartum depression with my third, and I also had postpartum depression with my first, and neither one was diagnosed or taken care of. But my first one, I wasn't reading at all. And I was literally staying at home with him. My baby boy would not go to sleep if he was not nursing. And he would wake up if I laid him down. So I kid you not, there were days, at least it felt like this, where I held him for like 14 hours, it seemed like. It seemed like from the second we woke up and he was sleeping with me because he would not sleep without me, and to going to bed. And I would be, and this is how, looking back, I'm like, no, you were not okay. I would be in the shower for like an hour because it was the one time where nobody could just hand him back to me. Because it was like, no, because I'm in here, the door's locked in the shower. And that's not my normal routine. That's not what I normally do. But I would just take forever in there because it was the only time that it wasn't like, well, I'm done holding him. Here you go. And my husband was having his own mental health struggles at the time. And we were young. We were like 21, 23. And it was a big learning curve. So in no way am I blaming my husband for me holding the baby and being with the baby constantly. But at that time, too, I did not realize that I need alone time to feel okay. I genuinely didn't know that about myself. And so me just waiting for bedtime every single night, I just figured, well, it's just the newborn stage. Everybody says this is hard. Not realizing, no, you literally need like an hour to yourself. And so I have had I've had my middle child, I was fine. Mental health was good. Everything was totally fine. But I've had where I was with my child every second of the day, and that did not make me any better of a parent than to let them be more independent and or to be checked out for a period of time where I was struggling. So I think that people really think, well, if you're with your kids, that's important. If you're giving them attention all the time, that's important. Yes, it is important. But your children need to be without you. Even if then they're in the same house as you, even if they're in the same room as you, they need to be able to function without your attention constantly being the thing that's entertaining them. And I think that people also, with parenting, I do think that we take the differences and we kind of feel like they're an attack on how we do it, because people are so critical and passive aggressive and, well, when I had kids, this is what I do, or people who don't have kids or whatever, it doesn't matter. Everybody has an opinion and likes to tell you about it. But I feel like we do sometimes feel attacked by the differences, because a lot of times people do use them as, well, my way must be better because it's my way. It's how I do it. So,
I was just going to say, I like this comment from Miss Awesome Saucy about how it's funny, people don't automatically ask men these kinds of questions. Like, when do you see your kids? When do you have time for them? Which is really true. And like, I think what's interesting is part of how I can do what I do is like, I have a spouse who is very involved and who is a partner in like caring for the children, managing the household, doing chores. Like, we both contribute to all of that, and that makes a huge difference as well. But it's true, it's like people see guys like spend a day with their children without anybody else and are like, wow, you're such an amazing father.
Yes, I agree. They get a lot of praise for a lot minimum.
Yeah,
but you know,
yeah, I mean, my husband is genuinely wonderful partner and great father, but like, it is funny how like there's definitely different standards.
Yeah, my going back to just talking about like how much your child is with you, it was a little different for me. Being a single parent, it's very, very different. You know, my child did not have the opportunity to be with me every second because you know, the way that maternity leave works in the States, you know, I didn't have the luxury of taking an extended period. Like, I didn't even take 12 weeks. So, you know, I didn't have that opportunity to kind of fall back. You know, my family, my family has her actually, right? I'm with my family this weekend, so they have her right now. But, you know, one of the things that I think I have felt guilt about is that I've had to make some tough decisions about not being with her all the time. You know, she was in daycare early. We're talking like 8 weeks early. And because of that, she's a very, very independent child, but that doesn't mean that, you know, I didn't have, or I don't have that guilt of, you know, I wish I could have spent more time, or I wish we had those moments. And I just don't have that luxury. You know, even small things like carrying my child, I couldn't. So she's not used to she doesn't ask me to pick her up. You know, she'll ask her grandfather or she'll ask her grandmother to pick her up, but she doesn't ask me to pick her up because she knows that when it's me and mommy can't pick me up because mommy has to take care of everything else. So from the other side of that, when you're kind of like forced in a situation where you can't, you know, people will make you kind of people will try to make you feel guilty for that too. Like, oh, you put your child in daycare too soon, or you don't do this, or you're not doing that. And it's like, well, I do what I have to do because I am a single parent that does not have family with me. My family lives almost 2 hours away from me. So it literally is just the two of us. So I have to move and operate in a way that is best for us. And how that translates, I think, a lot of times into Booktube is that, I've kind of come to a point where, I'm good if I post once or twice a week. And because she's getting older now, there are certain times, like my weekends and stuff, like if I feel like filming during the weekend, I'll do it. If I don't, then I don't. It is what it is at this point, because the weekends are times that I do have the opportunity to spend with her. Or lately, if you haven't seen via Twitter, my weekends have been spent away for me, for mommy time, in a hotel room by myself. Like last weekend, I felt like I had the biggest flex last weekend because I didn't wake up with little toes in my back and all the covers snatched off of me.
Look,
So
that is huge.
that was huge.
I mean,
I woke up the morning, I was like, I have the covers. There's no toes in my back. Oh my gosh. This is so amazing. And it's crazy, but I did feel guilty at first because I knew how much time we were already spending apart because I had to go back to work full time. So when we get home in the evening times, like we start at 6:30 in the morning and don't get back home till 6:30 at night. She's in the bed by 8:30 every single night. So, that's like a 2-hour window that we get during the week. And then I'm like, oh gosh, like how dare I say that I want to drop her off at her grandparents so I can go to Atlanta for the weekend. And it's like, but you do, like you said, Heather, like you need that time. And I think a lot of times people who are not, who may not be parents or have different ideas about parenting don't realize that how can you be a good parent if you are not taking care of yourself? I can't fill up her cup if my own cup is not filled up. So I think it's important that parents are taking time. Like, I just need a moment. I just need a couple of days to myself. Like, I just get a hotel room and just stare at the ceiling because I know that in that I'm giving myself time to fill myself up. So I think that's super important. I think people overlook that a lot of times.
Right.
Absolutely.
I agree. And I think that some people, they confuse putting your kids with somebody else for half the week, every single week, with this weekend or this day or this night. And, it doesn't matter how much you need your cup filled up or what way you get it. There are going to be times when you're a parent that your cup is empty, that you've gone too long without filling it up. And there are going to be times where you just have to be like, you know what? It's going to have to happen. I have to do something or I'm not going to be okay.
Yeah, I've been real fortunate for my family to be near family. So it's really interesting. Our family isn't just by blood. I guess that's how you define it. Our family extends by clan. So I could be related to someone who's not even in my biological tree, but they'll call me daughter, or I can call them sister, or so I have them already saying, oh, hey nephew, or hey grandchild. So I have that extended family. I think like Ashley said too, me and my spouse, we want them to be independent. I don't even think with our last 3 kids we had a stroller because it's so big, and like why do we need this? They can walk, and so them just, unless we were like at some park where you have to walk like let's say a whole mile, then yeah, we'll get the $5 stroller or something, then just give it away. But there really is no need for them. If they can walk, then we'll just make them walk. And most of the time we like Bethany was saying earlier, we want them to grow up in a way where not only that they're good people, right? That they have a sense of who they are in terms of their identity and like how do they fit in this world. But then we also have to teach them, can you take care of yourself? Like once you get to that age where you're getting ready to get kicked out or not get kicked out, but even my mom, when we all graduated from high school, you know what our graduation presents were? They were suitcases. It was so funny. Everybody would kind of make fun of us. But it was like, but I feel like, and I remember sometimes I do get criticism from people in my community about how much time I'm spending creating content. And most of the time they don't know. They don't know like what I do for fun. But a lot of the time I actually get judged by just people just saying like, wow, you have 4 kids. How are you even doing this? Or why? Why are you even doing this? So I feel like sometimes when people, like Heather was saying, they want to project what they feel parenting should be, what it should look like. But I'm just kind of like, okay, just whatever. Like just kind of just let those things just bounce right off me because I at this point, I'm just so happy to have found something I finally enjoy, to find community and people that I can talk to. And even if it's just through IG Messenger and just say, and send them something and laugh about a stupid post or relate to content. And also what Ashley was saying, that I feel like all families are going to look totally different. All parents are going to parent the way they feel that is best for their kid, especially in a world where, like when it comes to social justice issues, not only do we have to teach our kids like, hey, this is how people see you, but this is how I want you to see yourself. So it's kind of like really interesting how I kind of just let all that stuff just kind of roll off my back because they don't really know me. They don't know what I go through. They don't know like my situation or and most of the time they don't know my kids. My kids are, I mean, yeah, my kids have their own issues. Do we get in arguments? Heck yeah, we're arguing about popsicle flavors earlier and how somebody in our house ate all the white popsicles. I don't know. I think they were like lemon flavored and it was crazy. I was like, what are you guys talking about? Somebody ate all the white popsicles. I'm like, what? Why are you guys yelling? I don't know. It was, so it's kind of,
I mean, yeah,
yeah, it's just everyday kid stuff and family stuff. But
yeah,
also,
over here, it's the strawberry popsicles that they
but also like what Ashley was saying before is like, what did she say? I think Ashley, you were talking about how that just having that time for yourself. Want to say hi? Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, just having time for yourself and just really, I mean, even my kids know. I'll tell my kids, I'll be like, hey, you guys, you know what? Your parent needs a moment right now. And this is why. Like, this is what I went through at work. And I'm just truthful with them. I was like, this is how I feel right now. And this is why I need time to myself. Or maybe sometimes me and their dad will take that time together. Sometimes sometimes he'll need a minute too. So he'll go spend time away from us because of stuff that is going on with him. And so it's kind of like Bethany was saying, is that we're both in this together. There's no, I mean, even though we're Indigenous and sometimes we have these gender roles, but these cultural roles, but also in this house, it looks completely different. He has no problem cooking. I don't even have to ask him to. If he sees me working past a certain hour, he's like, okay, I gotta cook something. So it's not really anything that we argue about or whatever. It's just, hey, our kids are hungry, so we need to feed them, you know? So it's kind of like, it's not really anything that's kind of like, but I do get those comments. Like I was reading in the comment earlier they praise him like, wow, you cook for your kids, like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. And he's like, okay, like, he's like, every parent, no matter who you are, should cook for their kids. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't get it. He's like, so he kind of like, he gets it now, but before it was like, I don't know. But anyway, but yeah, I'm like you, Heather. I had my kid. I was in my freshman year in college, and I was pregnant, and I think I had her my sophomore year, and then I just had this guy. Where did he go? Oh, he ran out. Sparky, get down. I had him. I had him in 5 years ago. So it was really interesting to have like a daughter in high school, and then all of a sudden, like, what were we thinking? What were we thinking? But it's all good now. So it's awesome.
Oh, man.
Yeah, like we're done.
I know so many people who make it work with like a huge gap between their kids, but when I tell you that that is my worst nightmare, that I would accidentally have a surprise baby 10 years from now, I live in dread. I kid you not. I'm just like, please, birth control.
Oh.
Just be good.
Yeah, no, we're done. So we waited a couple years to be sure that we were sure, and then I was like, I had 2 C-sections. You can have a vasectomy, and we will not have to worry about it. It's great.
I was actually wanting another one. I wanted another kid, and he was like, no. Are you kidding?
You're kidding me.
Like, we can't even wake up on a Sunday and you want another one? And I'm like, no, I do want to do it because he's going to be by himself. He's like, no, he doesn't. He has like a million cousins. He doesn't need anyone. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, he'll be fine. He has all kinds of brothers and sisters with all kinds of cousins. They'll be fine. And I'm like, but I want another one. He's like, no, don't touch me. Leave me alone. So yeah, that was nuts.
That's so funny. My husband was like totally fine with stopping after every single one. He said he wanted no more than 3 kids. And then my last pregnancy was like the hardest. And when because my littlest one is a girl, when she hit like 1 or 2, he's like, what if we just had another one? And I was like, no. I'm not giving another 2 years of my life where it's just like my whole body and all of my being is dedicated to this baby. I'm not doing it again. I've done it 3 times. I'm all done. So done.
Oh my gosh, that time where they sleep through the night. Oh, we had a party. We're like, he slept through the night. Yeah, like didn't have to wake up, nothing. So it was awesome. And then I was like, waiting. Can you get another one? He's like, heck no. So yeah.
Waiting for the day when we're fully done with that. Like our youngest still does pull-ups at night, but I'm like, but we're almost there. I'm just like waiting for the day where we just are completely potty trained all the time and I don't have to worry about it.
Must be nice. Listen, I have a child who continues to pee the bed sometimes, and I'm just like, but why? And then my youngest is not yet potty trained, which means since my oldest is going to be 9 in 2 months, that means I've been doing diapers for like 9 years almost. And I'm just like very ready to be done with this. I do watch kids in my home, right? So a couple of them, I'm only watching 2 right now, plus my baby nephew, because my sister was able to work from home because of COVID, because of the risk with pregnancy and infants. She was able to work from home for like the last year, and now she's back in the office. So I'm watching him like every other week. But the babies that I watch now, well, they're like 6 and 5 or 5 and 4 or something like that. But I watched them since they were 2 months old. And something I've noticed with the moms, because one is a single mom, but both they've had, these mandatory shifts and stuff like that, and they had to go back after 2 months, is there are pros and cons to being with your kids all the time and having to be apart from them. And I feel like sometimes people focus on the pro of what they don't have and the con of what they do have, but it's a different struggle. But no options are perfect or fantastic in every way. There are struggles. So when you make booktube content, how do you manage that with kids? Do you try to schedule it or wing it, or do you try and work around their schedules? I can tell you that I film on Sunday afternoons, and my kids get screen time with their daddy in the man cave, which is on the opposite end of the house from our bedroom where I film. And I do all my filming in those times. And stuff like this, right now they're in bed, so that works. Except my daughter decided to fall asleep at like 6 o'clock before supper. And then when she got laid in bed at bedtime, decided to pop back up and not want to go to bed. So she's downstairs with daddy, I think. But anything like this is more difficult than my filming time. Because that is every week. They know that they get their screen time. They're happy about it. And it's, a 2-hour thing. Plus, I don't know about you guys, because I think that people get shamed either way that they do this. But, like, I do not wear makeup every day. So having to get ready for my videos is a chunk of time. So having all those videos done when all the getting ready stuff just happened one time really helps me time-wise.
Okay, so I mostly try to film when the kids are not in the house if possible, but if sometimes that doesn't work. I always have at least 2 videos go up a week, and so there are times when you hear them in the background and we just kind of, sometimes it takes longer to film the video because they'll be fighting and I have to pause or refilm part until they're done fighting. Sometimes I leave pieces of it in the content and just think it's funny, but usually during the school year I would usually try to film on days that they're in school, or if I need to film on a weekend, if the weather is good, have my husband take them out to the playground for a couple hours so I can film, is usually what I try to do. But things happen. I mean, especially with COVID and everything. And live streams are hard. I pretty much will only do live streams if they're sleeping. So, which is why I'll usually, be like, 8:30 Eastern, or if it's a weekend where I know I can get them out of the house, maybe I can make it happen. Once a month I do the Blades and Bodice Rippers book club, which is a Saturday afternoon. So my husband will take them out to the playground or someplace while I do that. But I can't do live streams. Still want to be on camera. So I can't do live streams if they're awake or in the house. But I don't know. I guess that's kind of how I feel like I'm forgetting a part to this question. But
don't make me think. I was
part of the issue too, because I know you mentioned with the house, right, is we live in Manhattan, and so we have a 2-bedroom apartment, and so there is no other side of the house. There's a couple rooms away. So it's if somebody is there, you'll hear them.
When I tell you that if I'm trying to film a vlog clip or something, when it's not screen time, it's like a 2-minute clip. It's impossible. I have to try so many times to just trying to not have screaming and fighting, or they're fighting the zombies or whatever they're doing. It's always loud, and it's always right in the middle. There's never 5 minutes of consecutive silence.
No, you just I remember what I was going to talk about. You're talking about the makeup thing. So speaking of self-care, I actually do wear makeup most days. I wear more makeup on days that I know I'm going to be filming, but it's part of my self-care routine at home. I watch YouTube videos and do my makeup and drink my coffee in the morning, and that's it's a self-care thing. So it's not, and I enjoy it. It feels relaxing and creative to me, so I like doing it, which is why I do. But people have strong feelings about it.
Yeah, they do. They like to tell you their feelings about it. You look frazzled. Oh, it
I
must be
just-
nice to be able to not look frazzled.
I just
Or even when
filmed.
you're making up people.
Oh, go ahead.
Kim.
No, you go ahead first.
Okay. Even if you do your makeup, though, people still have something to say about how you look in your video.
You just make such bold choices, Ashley. It's hard for them to resist.
Such bold choices. For me, I wing it. To be honest with you, there is no set time because I just don't think that I have a schedule that's conducive to having a set time. I try to make Sunday evenings after I put her down a day for me to film, but I mean, some days it just doesn't happen. Plus, I'm tired because I do get up so early, and then I have a very fast-paced job, which is tiring. So there's some days where I'm like, listen, if you get one video this week, you better count your lucky stars because I am exhausted. But I've been giving myself a little bit more grace with that because it's not my primary focus. And, you know, I enjoy Booktube. I love it. I love the community. I love making videos that talk about books. But I think, like, within the past couple months, I've come to realize, like, if you're tired, don't force yourself to do anything that you don't want to do. Because then that's where you're going to put yourself in a position where you feel obligated to do it. You're not going to enjoy it. You're going to put out content that you don't really want to do just for the sake of saying that you have content. And that's just for me personally. Like, Bethany is a goddess at having her content up. But I know for me, it's a little bit different. And then, you know, with editing, if I didn't have to edit, if people didn't complain so much about the way booktubers edit their videos, I low-key wouldn't edit my videos. But editing is just it's not my cup of tea. I hate editing. It is the worst part of the entire process for me. So, but I try to, at least, for most of my videos, I am filming at least 48 hours before I put the video up. I do start to think about my content ahead of time. I just right now do not have the capacity to sit down and plan everything out because it's just, you know, I've tried that, but what ends up happening is that stuff happens so much throughout the week or throughout the month for me that what I may have planned, it doesn't work out. There's so many different like reading projects that I wanted to do in terms of like thematically doing certain things, and I know right now I just don't have the capacity to do it because I'm just too busy. Yeah, the lady who came at my lipstick, who also got into a verbal altercation with me via a live stream this past week on Tuesday.
No.
Yeah, she did. We were on Mara's channel. It was me, Mara, and Jess, and she got into the comments and she was basically saying like, I'm the one that made that lipstick comment and I'm not changing my opinion. So then I was gonna let it slide until she said something, and like I just picked up my phone and I just started going at it, and then she really like made me upset when she was like, well, I'm gonna be the adult and bow out. I said, if this was my channel, I would have said something different, but that's Mara's channel, and I didn't want anything to get flagged because of my mouth. And I went in the chat because I was like, I'm not going to do it verbally because Mara and Jess were still having a conversation. If you go back and you watch the live stream, I like completely am checked out at one point.
Yes. But my power was out for the live stream. I was so sad. My power was out. So I watched the replay, but it was like a couple hours. So I was doing stuff. So I didn't have the live chat going, which I always do because I'm usually like really invested in it. So, but I remember I was like, she's probably like watching the chat or whatever, but I wasn't watching the chat. So
I was sitting in the chair and like I had my phone and I was like, Mara and Jess kept talking and talking and talking. And then you can see me literally sit in the chair and I'm checked out because me and this lady were going at it in the chat. And then Bree was being messy because then Bree was like, the chat, look at this chat. And then putting like the emoji eyes and everything. It was a mess. All over because she said, I don't really like the lipstick. Maybe it's because I'm white. I said, girl, what?
I was already so sad to have missed the live. Now I just like am even madder because that would have been I would have been saying things. I would have been there.
Like, I'm so behind on everything because we've been on vacation for the last week, which is great.
Mhm.
But like, I haven't seen anything. I've just been like barely even on social media.
Yeah, was it last week I was on vacation or the week before? I don't remember, but I just stayed off. Yeah, it was kind of that's crazy. But even around here, people like, why are you wearing makeup? And I'm like, I don't know, like, because it's on my face already. I don't know.
Like, I like it.
It's, I don't know, it just kind of was flying around in the air and it just landed on my face, so that's why I'm wearing makeup. So yeah, I don't know what people, yeah, it's crazy, but I
think it's funny people like make assumptions about like why women do this. It's just funny. I had a conversation because while we've been on vacation, I've been doing a lot less than usual because it's not as fun because I have to stand in like a bathroom and do it instead of sit at my desk. So I'm like, oh, like put a couple things on and like I'm done. But I like mentioned this to my husband. He was like, well, I don't mind. And I was like, I don't really do it for you. And he's like, no, I mean, I don't mind that you get ready faster in the morning.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I have to make time. Like, if I don't make time to do it, it's not going on my face. So that's just like, if I don't wake up early enough to do it, then I just have a Kim face and not like a painted face. So, but for me, I just right now, if I have one video up every 2 weeks, I'm happy about it. Before I was trying to do at least one video a week. I just film when I have time, when it's settled, when it's quiet in the house. And but now that the Suns are playing, oh my gosh, my husband, I can't film anything. Like, there's F-bombs and yelling, and so with the playoffs, it's crazy in here. So I can't film. And then when they're not playing, I have work stuff because my work, we actually started a book group. We're reading Firekeeper's Daughter with community members, and what else did we read? Heartberries, and then also Carrie by Tony Jensen. So we have that going on, and then I do live reads with the group. So just different stuff. So, but it's I just film whenever I have time, and like Ashley said, editing is the worst. It was awful when I was trying to learn how to do it. I was deleting whole clips and then have to download them again. But I'm a little bit better at it now. My girls, they make me watch all of these YouTube tutorial videos, and they're like, watch this one, this is how you do this. I was like, okay. And then after I got good at that, they started teaching me the shortcuts of how to edit. So I'm a little bit faster at it now, but the thing that takes the longest for me is the description. So I like to credit, even if I just mention a creator once, I like to put who they are, if what their pronouns are, their YouTube channel, their IG, whatever, and then their latest content that they have. Or if I mention their post in the video, I like to shout out other people that inspire me and that motivate me. So
I do one link.
I do one link. Because you know what you get from me? A tag. That's it. That's all you
I mean, I do the at, like, if they have over 1,000 subscribers, I do at channel, because you can do that, you know. And if they have under 1,000, I'll like actually link their channel. But like, yeah, that's
that's what I'm saying. Booktubers mentioned, and then there goes the list.
Yeah,
and then
most
either
and most of my description, I copy and paste. It's like the same every time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'll have like all these browsers open. Like if I'm mentioning a Bookstagrammer, I'll copy and paste their Bookstagram, not the whole link, not just the IG app, whatever. I'll do the whole link because I find that when I look at descriptions, I won't look at them later unless there's a link. Then I'll click on it. I don't know. I'm just weird. I don't know. I just do all this.
No, that's great.
That's great.
Yeah. And then
I'm
that's the part that takes the longest is just the editing. The filming is easy. I'm just like blah 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 blah. Then I get up, because whatever, and then I'll edit that part out. Or if I'm just like sitting there, like what was I gonna say? I'll edit that part out. But yeah, most of it, editing is a lot easier. It's just, and then the uploading. The uploading here takes forever. It takes so long. I have to upload it at the end of the night. And then hopefully by the time I wake up, it's uploaded. That's how slow our internet is out here. I'm surprised you guys can even see my face. It's not like Minecraft where I'm just like a block or...
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
I'm like a nerd and really enjoy editing.
Of course you do. I am not surprised. Not surprised.
It's fun. I got like super excited when I got a new computer that could handle like fancier editing software. I was like, yes, I get to learn new editing stuff.
You're just like chop chop chop.
Yeah. No, it's fun, and I like slowly teaching myself like new tricks or like things to do. I don't know, it's fun. It's funny to me though, because like the videos I spend the most time on, like filming and editing, are the ones that don't get the most views. I spend very little time on a very straightforward like book review or like wrap up or whatever, and that's what everyone watches. And then I'll do all this fancy stuff, and people are like, yeah, it's fine. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. Okay, I see what you want from me. It's fine.
I feel like I'm going to appall Bethany because I know some of my Booktube friends are deeply troubled at me, but I edit on my phone, and it's amazing.
I don't know how y'all do that.
It's amazing. Listen, it's so easy. First of all, it's so great because you can do it with your kids, right? I can do it on the couch. I can do it wherever. That's great. But then also, like, it's just so easy. It's just tap, 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 and like that's it. I don't understand why people are just like
I don't like. I mean, it's fine. I don't like editing full videos. I edit my TikTok videos on my phone, but like I don't like in the app, but I don't really like using.
Yeah, I film on my phone, and then I have an SD card in my phone. Then I get the little needle, I take it out. Then I put the SD card in my laptop, download the video, edit it, upload it back onto the SD card, put the SD card back in my phone, and then upload it.
Do you have Apple stuff or no?
I have a Samsung phone and an Apple laptop.
Okay, let me just tell you, when I finally made the switch to an iPhone as a content creator, AirDrop is a game changer.
Yes.
Like,
see, so like for my work phone is an iPhone. So but I just love my phone. I'm sorry. Maybe I just need to get a laptop that's an Android laptop. A laptop that is not an Apple, and then just figure out how to do the software from there. But yeah, AirDrop is excellent. I use it a lot for work. I just don't use it for my stuff because I just want to be difficult and make things harder for myself. So that's why I do it that way. So
I know some people who don't edit their videos, and I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan
either. I'm not either. I don't like it. No. It's awkward. Like I know. I don't know Heather if you and I are talking about the same person, but like probably. It's just like awkward because if you start doing other things before you start talking about your next book, I'm sitting here like, well, what's going on? Like, you play with your hair, you're drinking, you're eating, you're doing other. It's too much of a distraction. I think it takes away. Here goes everybody's favorite word. Aesthetically, I think it detracts. It detracts from the overall presentation of the video. For me personally, some people don't mind it. They're just like. I mean, it feels like I'm just in conversation with the person, but I know for me, it becomes a distraction more so than anything else.
I personally think that it's taking the inconvenience of not wanting to edit and putting it on your viewer that they now
Yeah.
have to watch all the stuff they should have edited out. And for me, I think about what I'm saying. So I'm saying and pausing. Like it would not be a good experience for people if I didn't edit.
Mhm.
Like I edit out a lot of things. Even if it doesn't end up being a lot of time, maybe it's only
Yeah.
like 3 minutes that I took off the video total. It's still like a lot of pauses, a lot of things where it's just me trying to figure out what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
I do, like for channel members, I do a video update that's unedited, but it's like 6 minutes.
Right.
And then it's just kind of me being like, here's what I'm up to. And it's very like behind the scenes, raw, like not anything I would ever like upload for, but I'll do that as kind of like extra content for people who are interested. But for like actual videos, yeah. Hi. Oh, look at her.
How about this? Erica
Hi, baby.
says no.
I know.
Um,
That's
She's so cute.
All right. I have 2 more things and then we can be done. I wanted to know, one, how do you feel about your current life reading booktube balance? Are you happy with where you're at, or is there one area or another that either you see a lot of variation in or you would like to change where it's at? And then I know that there was another thing that I just saw that I was like, we forgot to talk about that, but I don't know what it was. I don't know. I'll get back to it.
I don't know. I feel pretty good about things. Like, I think if I have an issue, it's that I need to request fewer NetGalley books.
What, like your New Year's resolution? Is that what we're talking about right now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Most people give up on their New Year's resolutions, so it's not like
Listen.
I'm the odd person out.
I was watching your recent stats video, and you were like 50% or more were like basically assigned books to you, and I was just like, the mood reader in me is just horrified. I cannot fathom being like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would like it to be slightly lower, but I actually like I enjoy having it be a, you know, like a slightly higher percentage, but I would like it to be a little less. Like I definitely tend to overextend myself, but the problem is I just get so excited about books because I read in so many genres and enjoy so many. I'm like, but this book sounds great. And if I get it on NetGalley, I don't have to buy it unless I love it. And then I will probably still buy it. But yeah, I don't know. That's the main thing that I think is slightly out of balance. But otherwise, you know, I'm pretty happy with it.
Oh my.
For me, it's now finding now with this job, I think it's finding balance between, or making sure that I keep that balance of work related stuff and also reading for pleasure, because I think the two can become intertwined, and I want to be very, very mindful about that. Especially with, I know Bethany, you're saying you want to pull back on net. Well, I don't use NetGalley. I use
Midwife?
yes, thank you. I use them because I have the librarian code to it, so I pretty much, you know, it's not as much of a big deal.
Yeah.
But now that for me is going up, just because it'll help me make more informed decisions when I am doing acquisitions. So I think that is the biggest thing. I think in this past few days, the main thing that I've been pulling a lot of is definitely a lot of picture books, because, you know, there's so many. There's so, like in a week, I can be, you know, just in a week time, I could have a cart of 60 something picture books that I have to go through. And that's 2 months ahead of publishing. So it's been a lot of that, but I know that for future references, I need to make sure that I keep, they're tied together, but I need to make sure that I don't burn myself out and feel like, oh my gosh, I mean, it is my job, but you know, you still want to have that reading for pleasure. Like, I'm not reading for my job. So yes, I am. I was a teen librarian. Now I work in collection development. So now I do acquisitions. I purchase.
Yes. I did think of the other thing. The other thing was, how much do you want or try to have boundaries around your kids being on your channel? Or because I know for me, I try not to have them at all. Now my youngest sometimes slips in. But I try not to have them at all, and I try not to say their names or, you know, be specific about their birthday, or I try to have as much of their privacy maintained, because I think that you can go way too far with like some of the family vloggers where they're like showing disciplining their children and like, you know, just things that I feel very uncomfortable with. And then you have the people who are just like, how dare you put your child's picture on the internet? Don't you know that there are predators? And it's like, well, yes, but so just like, what are your personal decisions with that?
Well, for me, that's why I don't do a lot of vlogging, because I'm always with them, and like, so everybody wants me. They're like, when are you going to do a vlogging? But every time I do a vlog, they're running around, or the girls say, can we not? Well, the girls are already put up that boundary, and my son. They said, we don't want to be in any kind of video. We don't want to be on your channel. So I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. So when I vlog, they're always there. So I can't really vlog.
You can vlog in the closet.
Well, I kind of like, another thing is, well, with kind of like the same with you, sometimes I try not to say their names at all. I also just give them their privacy. So I know, like, my daughters, they are actually subscribed to my channel, but they have like this weird, I don't know, but they're cute. So they'll go and they'll just like, but they won't ever comment. And I don't know. I don't really, I mean, I think I could probably have a whole entire channel on just probably stuff with my family and all the cultural stuff we do. It's crazy of how, and that's the thing that Ashley was talking about earlier, like when all the ceremonies and my cultural obligations and responsibilities come back, once COVID isn't so hectic right now, like, what is that going to look like with me? I would have to balance that out, plus my job, and then my family, and then creating content. If anything, I might even have to probably only post once a month, or just maybe be more active on IG instead of on Booktube. So I haven't really thought about that much yet. So, but yeah, just like what you guys were saying, just about not really having them in my videos because they choose not to, and I just respect their choices. And I mean, I think in one video I had him on there, the little guy. He was jumping on and he was like, "Hi, readers!" And so I think it was like the only time I had him on. He was like, it was like the beginning of a book review, I think, or a book haul. But other than that, I don't really. I mean, they don't. Like my Facebook. My Facebook is filled with nothing but family and friends, and they don't even like to do selfies with me at all. Like, yeah. So even when we're out doing stuff, and then I just want to tag my family, and they're like, "No, I don't want to take a picture with you," and I'm like, "God, okay." So they've been pretty, and since the beginning, they're just like, "Nope, we don't want to be on there," and so we're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Bethany.
So my kids are always asking to be in videos, and like I probably say no more often than I say yes, but like we did talk before I got on social media and on YouTube about like what boundaries we had around what we would or would not put on the internet. So like we do have that conversation happening, and definitely if they ever are like, no, I don't want to be on this thing, I'm like, okay, that's cool, it's fine. Like I would never feel comfortable doing something that was focused around them. But I have two very, little performers who love to be on video, and so I don't have a problem with letting them be on there, and like I'll show them on my social media and do different things, and people kind of know their names, and like it's not so we kind of like we have things about what we are and aren't comfortable with being out there, but we're probably a little bit less protective about it than I think some people. I know people who don't want their kids on at all, which I think is fine. I think that's the thing, like you have to do what your family is comfortable with and what works for you, and I think that's fine.
Right.
So I think earlier on, I did a lot more vlogging, and she was more, she was in more of those vlogs. As she got older, and as I had to go back to work, I stopped vlogging. So she was not and has not been in a lot of videos until recently, because we did a little partnership thing with Outer Crate. And I thought that would just be something fun for the two of us to do. So I don't mind her being there, but honestly, usually when I film, she's not up.
Right.
So, the only time, and it's hard to film with her at that age, because she wants to do what she wants to do. And, that 5-minute video of doing an Outer Crate unboxing took probably 15 minutes to 20 minutes to actually film. And that footage because of her, getting up and wanting to do her own thing and then coming and sitting back down. So just because of how she is, it's not really, great to film with her right now.
Right.
I do not say her name at all, unless it is someone that I know personally. There's only 2 people in this, 3. Like 3 people in the community but those are people that I talk to, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like on a personal level. But no, I don't do that. I mean, we do every now and then I'll share a picture on social media, but I'm not like, because of the nature of it being the 2 of us, it's a little bit harder for me to be like, you'll never see, it's gonna happen.
Right.
But I do have, my boundaries, and if she ever gets to a point where she's like, I don't want to do, of course that's her choice.
Right. I will say, I think that kids showing up in Booktube videos is wildly different from, having millions of subscribers on a channel that is specifically starring your children and this is what they're doing. And I'm not saying that every parent who does that is a terrible parent or anything like that, but I'm saying for me, I judge those channels a little bit more. I'm not a fan. I think that there's not, a lot of protection for children's rights or for the monetization of those videos, for any of it to go to the children or any of the things. There's not a lot going on in the internet laws. But I view that as completely different from people having their kids show up in their videos. I talked to my husband before I started my channel, and my husband is more private than I am, not just in the internet sense, but he generally doesn't give more information than what you asked for, right? Like, he's not volunteering that, well, I wasn't feeling well that day. No, like, it's just okay, and that's it. So I just decided that when it came to our privacy, and especially our kids, we would just go with whatever the tightest boundary was. Whoever was more comfortable with less, we would just go with less. And there have been some things, like even there was a vlog recently where my baby girl, you could see her, when I was vlogging, and I showed him the clip. I was like, hey, are you fine with this, or should I refilm it? And he was fine with it, so it went in. And my boys, and I know, Bethany, I know your boys are fans of like the same YouTubers that my boys are. They think that being a YouTuber is the greatest thing. They also think that if you don't have 1 million subscribers, Mom, you're not doing as good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
As these Minecraft guys. And my boys will be like, hey, how many likes do you have on your video? And I'm like, 27? And they're like, what? It needs to be like 100,000 likes on your videos. So like they would be in every video if it was up to them. They would have their own channels. They would do all the things. But we're not doing that. And if they want to later in life, sure. But now that 6 and 8, you know.
Well, my 7-year-old he's like, I want to have a YouTube channel. And I'm like, okay. So basically what I told him, and kind of our policy has been, okay, YouTube says you can have your own account when you're 13. So when you're 13, if you learn how to edit your own videos, sure. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing it for you, but like, if you want to have a channel and learn how to do it and do game, like, yeah, okay. Because I mean, for me, I do think like there are benefits, you know, if for kids who want to do it, like I do think there's definitely benefits to like learning that responsibility, learning how to like do public speaking, learning how to edit videos, like all the behind the scenes stuff. Like there's technical aspects to that. And I'm like, sure. And he's like, well, I want to be a YouTuber. And I'm like, that sure, you can do that as a side thing, but you are also going to go to college and like think about other opportunities as well. But like so I think that's the thing is I'm kind of like like if you want that to be like one of the things you do when you're old enough and like you want to learn how to do it all yourself. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Right. You can save that monetization money for your college fund and it'll be great.
Right. And for me too, again, I think like a teenager having a gaming channel is different from showing the ins and outs of their daily life or, you know, just any of the things. Like it's a hobby that is being shown on the internet. That's different from invading privacy. I think that's just my personal taste.
Yeah, okay. my kids didn't even believe me when I hit 1K. They're like, "What? No, weren't you just like at 100?" Like it was like this big thing for them. They're like, "You're a liar," and I was like, "Look at it." And they're like, "That's not your channel," and I'm like, "Look, it says mommy right here," and they're like, okay. Yeah, but it was funny. Yeah, I kid you not, they are so smart and they're just quick to respond and just they're so funny. They just have that res humor where they're just kind of like, nuh-uh, whatever. Then they'll just, I don't know. They're funny. They're just so sarcastic too, and it cracks me up.
I love sarcasm.
My 7-year-old, when I hit 10,000 subscribers a while back, and we were like celebrating, and I was like, yeah, I hit 10,000, and he was like, well, you know, Mom, Jelly has like whatever 1 million to 10 million subscribers, and I was like, so what I actually did is I was like, yeah, but you know what? We're celebrating this right now. And I was like, let me give you an example, because this is what I do with him, is I'll give him an example to like have him put himself in other people's shoes. I was like, how would you feel if you came and were like, Mom, I finished a book. It was 100 pages. And I was like, well, you know, I just finished this book that's 1,000 pages. And he was like, oh, not good. And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't do that. I would be like, that's awesome, Conrad. Great job.
They were literally watching Jelly today. And they were just like, he's a YouTuber. It's fine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of channels that are very focused. Go ahead.
Definitely have channels. But yeah, no, he's got his jelly merch shirt that he wanted for Christmas. And when we go out places, other kids will be like, "Oh, look, he's got a jelly shirt."
Yes, my children are ridiculously proud of their YouTuber merch, and I'm just like, it's fine, it's fine. I guess I want to say that for me, I do have 3 videos a week right now, and I would say that that is my as much content as you're probably ever going to get from me, and it would not surprise me at all if at some point, even within the next year or so, it just depends on life. Life has seasons, right? Sometimes you're much busier, or there's tragedies, or there's things that are going on. But it wouldn't surprise me if I have to drop down to 2 videos or 1 video a week. Like I said, being able to film all 3 at the same time is definitely the biggest factor in me actually having 3. But I don't see myself ever increasing to more videos. I mean, I guess it's possible if Booktube became my part-time job and all my other tiny money jobs went away, then I guess, and or my kids would be older. So maybe. But I also know that for me, making content, because I did start during COVID, although I started because I got better internet, and like him, I was like, I don't want to be uploading for 10 hours. So I got better internet. And when I did, I was like, okay, you have to start your channel now. That was your last excuse. That was your reason. You got to do it right now, because I procrastinate. But I know my reading went way down when I started making content, because all of my content creation time came out of my reading time. And I know I said, I don't know if any of you guys saw it, but for my New Year's resolutions, one of the things that I wanted, my goals, was to spend less time reading and less time on booktube related things, because obviously there's a lot of learning curve things that took more time than if you knew what you were doing, and to spend that time more with attention on my family, because I do think when you have so much quantity time, it can be easy to be like, I'm with my kids all the time, and then how much time did you actually do anything face to face with them? So I'm happy with where I'm at now, but if I were going to change something, it would probably be less on content creation, and some of it, you know, is scrolling through Bookstagram 80 times a day, which you don't really have to do in order to make a video. So there are things that you can skip, but I'd probably lower content creation in favor of family/reading, because I do find, like, I know I had a couple reading slumps, especially this spring, but like in June, there's like a couple of weeks where I didn't read anything, and I hated it. I was just like, I felt empty inside, but I need to read a book. So that's where I'm at with that. Does anybody have any last comments that they would like to say? Because we almost
well, a lot of what I read, sometimes, or not a lot, but some of what I read, I actually keep to myself. I won't put it on BookTube. So there's a few books that I read that I just keep close to me, and maybe when I start to be a little bit more active on Bookstagram, I'll share, like, this is what I'm reading now. But I have a few reads that I've read that I haven't shared with the book community, and I just feel like I don't know, I just kind of want to keep that with me. I don't know if that makes any sense, but or sometimes I'll read poetry, and I don't really know how to review poetry. It's just something that I kind of I meditate on and I pray on, and I kind of, and there's some books that I reread, but I always forget to add that to my my wrap-up videos. Like there's some books that I'll reread like maybe half of it, or that things that really stick with me, and or reads that are healing, or even just reads that I read for work. It's crazy how much I read for work. A lot of boring, well, people would find boring, but I actually really enjoy it. Like a lot of federal Indian policy reads and justice like articles, like a lot of reads on like sex trafficking in the indigenous community, missing and murdered women articles. And so there's like a lot more that I read for work too. So it's right now I'm just kind of trying to find, I'm having difficulty balancing it all. Like you said, because I really enjoy Booktube too. Like I kind of reserve just my mornings. So if I get up early for watching Booktube or doing other things like washing dishes or whatever, my evening time is when I spend usually scrolling on IG or like filming or whatever. And then like throughout the day, I put in pockets of time where I do read or late into the evening. So like if I don't have to film a video, I'll be like, okay, this is like a segment of time where I'm going to read, because I'm pretty bad. Before I was staying up until the next day and reading a book all the way through the night, and then getting in the shower and then just starting work, not sleeping at all. So Kim, do you and I have the same job? I work for a nonprofit. I do training and technical assistance for an organization, a tribal organization, on sex trafficking, domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking, and what am I missing? Dating violence in the indigenous community. So a lot of my work is pretty heavy. So I'll be attending like sexual assault response team meetings where sometimes we're discussing actual cases, and or I'll have someone call me out of the blue from the community and just say, hey, this happened to me, can you help me? And that's when usually I'll start a referral process. But most of the time I train like advocates, tribal leadership, law enforcement, so maybe behavioral health professionals. So it's interesting because there's that, and there's also the one-on-one stuff, the actually advocating for the community. So talking with the U.S. attorneys, which is probably my most favorite thing to do. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. But anyway, so it's kind of like me trying to balance all that, and reading is a huge outlet. I feel like I finally am finding reads where they reflect issues and challenges in my community, and I can actually give that to someone and just say, hey, you should check this out. It's really important read. And even with people, not just only on Booktube, but people I see in the community all the time. So I feel like Booktube has not only been fun for me, but it's also given me an outlet. It's made me not more aware of a lot of other issues that are happening, but it's also given me time to express how I feel on certain things in the indigenous community, and challenges, and also indigenous joy that we have. So it's been very interesting. Kind of, I've learned a lot. I've been pretty, I feel like I've been sheltered from a lot of, oh, okay, awesome. But it's been a journey, and I honestly don't know where I would be if I didn't have this. Like, I feel maybe I probably would have quit my job, because at one point it was just getting too heavy and too stressful. But now I feel, because I have Booktube and I have books that, because of Booktube, looking at other content creators and the stuff that they have, especially Ashley and Bree and a lot of other BIPOC creators, like it's crazy, like how much I was like, whoa, like there's this huge world out there of lit. And I was just like, where have you all been all my life? Like, I feel like I was like a horse for a long time, just going in one direction. But now I'm actually an owl. I can turn my head all the way around and I can see everywhere. So it's been pretty awesome.
Mhm. I do think that when you have something so heavy like that, whether because it's your job or just it's in your face all the time, or it's just something you care about and you spend a lot of time learning about it or dealing with it or experiencing with it, it makes it more important to find something to give you a break from that. And I think that a lot of times people burn out with their mental health because what they're doing is really important. And so they feel like they shouldn't pull back or they shouldn't take a break or, you know, I should work as much as humanly possible because who else is going to do it if I don't do it? And then they're done. They have nothing left to give. And so I think that if you do have something like that where your job is incredibly important, but it's also super heavy, it makes it more of a necessity for you to have something that just is a break in some way.
Yeah, I think all people need that. I think I mean, I think for me, I really just had to organize myself. Like how you said I was burning out, and I feel, but I'm no different than well, I don't know, but I feel like sometimes I'm no different than a mom who is just, or a parent out there trying to make it to their next paycheck. So I
Right.
feel like this has helped me in a lot of ways in terms of my mental, spiritual stress and helping me balance that out. But I
Yeah.
also give props to a lot of those people who don't even know where they're going to sleep tomorrow,
Right.
or
Yeah.
people who are don't know how they're going to get their next meal. So I feel, but yeah, it's difficult when you are a parent and you're doing it all on your own, and um, you're not even really worried about, especially in the work that I do, people don't worry about reporting of what's happened to them. They're worried about their kids. They want their
Mhm.
kids to stay at the same school. They want them to have, they want them to be grounded in who they are and where they're from, and they want them to be okay, rather than
Right.
like, why am I going to report this crime or what happened to me, when it's just going to mess up everything. So I feel like there's a lot of
Right.
It's
stuff
hard.
like that. Yeah, especially
Wow.
with young moms, and or
Yeah,
even just moms in general, parents in general.
that's rough. Yeah, I think I don't know. I think doing Booktube has just been so huge for me, um, because when I started it, like I said, I was dealing with postpartum depression. I was at a point where, like, what I thought I was going to be doing with my life, that door had kind of closed, and I was having kind of an identity crisis. I was living in a new city where, like, you know, a lot of the parents in my area are a lot older than I am. Um, and didn't really know people. And so I think it's been a creative outlet, a challenge, a place where I found community and friendships that have been, you know, amazing because, like, I don't know about you guys, but like for me, having friendships as a parent, I find really difficult because I'm just not, it's hard to be consistent. And
Mhm.
so actually like some of the friends that I've made through YouTube have become some of my best friends because we have things in common, but also like we can talk and then not talk for a while when things are busy and then talk again and like it's fine. Um, and that's been really helpful. Uh, yeah, I don't know. It's been a really positive, important thing for me and has opened a lot of doors and kind of taken me in directions that I don't know I would have gone. Like I I think for a long time, like I was always like a kind of like a high achiever academically. And so I think I had a lot of ideas in my head about what a career needed to look like and like what success looked like. And so I would always have creative side hobbies, but would always feel like doing something that was at all creative as a job was somehow like less. Like, I don't know why, but that was like my, you know, and so it's been an interesting process because I think having like this door closed to what I thought I thought I wanted to do, and then doing this and realizing that I love having something that integrates the nerdy side of my brain where I can do video editing and like behind the scenes stuff and also doing this like creative stuff. Like, this is the first thing I've ever done that I haven't been bored with after like 6 months. And so I don't know. Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah.
Ashley?
I am barely holding on.
I keep looking at the chat like, is something going off that Ashley is distracted by? But there's nothing.
No, this is what I'm talking about. I worked a full day and then I drove 2 hours. So I am at my tap out point. So I am trying to hold on, but I kind of feel along the same lines as Bethany though, in terms of I suck at keeping up with hobbies. Oh my gosh. I've done scrapbooking, I've done crocheting, I've done a little bit of painting and and I can't keep up with anything, but I think like this is probably one thing that consistently I have definitely kept up with. And for me, it's, I have friends outside of Booktube, but I think there's a common thing between us as a community that I don't get outside of our community. And I feel like there's a part of me that people in this community understand that people outside of this community may not understand. And so I don't know, it's just, it's different. And I think that the friendships that you do form, and even with having kids, it's great to have people who not only are understanding of you having kids, but share the same hobby as you. So like Bethany said, like you literally cannot speak to someone for like a week and some change, and then you talk and it's like you never stop talking. So it's great, y'all.
Yeah.
And then y'all are understanding of moments like this when Ashley's like, I'm here. I'm here and I'm listening. And I'm hearing a lot of great things. Then like the other side of my brain is like, why are you still up? Like, been up since like 5 something this morning. Like, why are you still trying to do this right now? Why are you still trying to hold on? So this is exactly how I'm like too, like during the week. This is exactly how I function. Is like around this time, 10:30. That's that. If I'm still up, you're lucky. So yeah.
I don't know what's going on with me right now. I been having a lot of trouble sleeping. I'll go to bed sometimes like at 1 and be up like at 6 or 7, and I don't know. But at the end of the week, I'm okay on Saturday. It's Sunday where I'm like, don't bother me. Like, there's cereal, there's milk in there, I think. If there's no milk, use water or orange juice or something. I don't like, just
water,
put your cereal.
Water.
Shouldn't you just eat it dry like a snack?
Eat it dry. Kim talking about use orange juice. I have done. But water though,
can't relate to
Kim, that's why those kids eat the cereal dry.
Get that water bottle, put some sugar in it, and just dump it in your cereal.
Sugar water.
Yeah. I was like, just carry around like dry cereal in your pocket. I don't know, just but I think my my family has been so, I don't know what I would have done without them. I think they've just been a huge support and of everything. Like if I told my sister, "Hey, I need to watch the kids for 2 weeks," she'd be like, "Okay," like that's fine. I could just it would be fine, and we're all near each other. And um, I think one of the things that Heather was talking about in terms of parenting or just families is we don't all look the same. We don't all, like, I don't know why our society is always trying to fit, um, especially women, like into this box
Yeah.
of you're not good enough if you're staying at home the whole time, and you're not good enough if you're at work the whole time. You're
Yeah.
not good enough if your kid can't do this by this date. And honestly, me, I was like, I just want my kids to respect others, to like know where they come from, to just have an idea of how I just want them to be good people.
Yeah.
I don't really stress too much on school. I mean, like, yeah, if you're failing and you're not doing anything, then sure, yeah, like you're gonna have words with mom. But I think if I just want them to be good people, like to be passionate about something.
Yeah.
So whether if that's reading or whatever, but I just want them to grow into themselves and just be good people. I know good people is like such a convoluted word, and just to treat others with respect. And I just want them to be happy too. I just want them to be happy. And believe me, it's so difficult being happy, and even just giving them the truth of like, hey, you know what? Like, because you're native, this might happen to you. Because you look like this is gonna happen to you.
Yeah.
Because I mean, even with, like, you know what? Other people they're gonna be treated better than you. That's just the reality of what our world is today. And like, how do I prepare them for that? How do I prepare them to not just get totally blindsided when they're on their own, you know? Right. So I feel like that's my priority right now, is just getting them to be strong enough inside, up here, their spirituality, everything. So when they're on their own, they're going to be okay. But mom, I'm going to be here if they need anything. So that's just kind of like where I'm headed. And that I love them. Like, they don't want to tell their other parental unit, that's fine. I'm here. Like, I'll listen. I won't get mad. I'll just, like, my face might be telling you something totally different, but I swear I'll stay in this chair and listen until you're done, and just be like, okay. So I think that's kind of like where I'm at right now.
I don't know. It's been interesting because, like, I don't think people always realize, like, what I think what you were saying, that, like, there are different conversations you end up having to have with your kids. Like, you know, my kids are biracial, and with my older son, you know, like, also we've had to have some hard conversations of, like, you know, sometimes things that your little friends can do in public places, like, you can't do. And because if you think that's okay, like, you're like, I don't want you to end up getting into a bad situation one day. And, like, I don't know, and having to, like, have conversations about how people are treated differently because of the way that they look. And it's not fair, and it's not right. And, like, it's important that we work together and people work to, like, make things better. But, you know, I'm raising, like, brown boys, and I don't want, you know, like, I want them to be safe.
Right.
And anyway, it's so, Kim, you know, I'm sure, like, you've got your own kind of other things that you talk about, but, like, that, like, those are whole other conversations. Like, being at a playground with, like, a friend wanting to do like karate fighting and taking my kid aside and being like, yeah, sorry, like you can't do that. If you want to do martial arts classes, we can talk about that and you can do it in an appropriate setting, but like you just can't be fighting with friends. Like that's just gonna be a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know I thought about this for the live, but I didn't want to make you guys talk about it, / I figured our live was going to be kind of long anyways, but I know that there's a lot of layers to parenting that are different if your kid is white or if your kid is not. My kids are white. We live in a very white town in rural Pennsylvania. And so a lot of the things that are very important to me and teaching them aren't going to be something that they see play out day to day because they're surrounded by white people and they don't have to face anything, and they honestly don't see other people being treated in a way unfairly because of how they look for the most part. And so while I have a lot of these conversations with them, I think right now a lot of it is kind of hypothetical in their mind. Like they just don't see it played out because they don't see it. But it's a very different thing. And I think that we want our kids we want them to be decent human beings. We want them to treat people with respect, to respect the boundaries, especially if you do have boys, or in my case have white boys. Like you don't want them to be assholes. You just don't. You're just like, can we not? The kids are so selfish. We're selfish beings. We have to be taught to be considerate of others or to have empathy for others. A 3-year-old wants their toy and they do not care that their brother wants it too. They want to be the one that gets it. And so trying to train that out of them is it's just a fun adventure that you feel like you're failing at a lot. But I think that most of us just want our kids to be respectful of others, and we want them to feel like their home is a safe place and that their parents love them and that family is loving. And not everybody is going to get that, and not all of us are going to succeed. We all have our trauma from our upbringing, regardless of what it is. And I think we're trying not to pass that on. And some of us are more successful than others, and sometimes we do a whole new brand of trauma. So that's that doesn't keep me up at night at all. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm not like, am I screwing up my children? Nah, probably not. Okay. I think we're done. I think Ashley is very done. But honestly, I swear to God, I thought about this earlier. Like, Ashley, if I had your schedule, maybe I would have one video. Maybe. Just because if you just look at the time that you're not home, like, am I busy throughout the day? Yeah. But can I often pick whatever 20-minute section I want to set and edit or whatever? Yeah. Yeah, I can, because I'm home. It would be a whole different thing if I was, 12 hours a day. You're gone. That's
12 hours a day. Yeah, I'm not home.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, it like right now my partner and I are on 2 different time zones. So he's an hour ahead, even though we're in the same house. When he crosses into the Navajo reservation, he jumps an hour ahead. But we're still in normal time. We're still in what we call it Hopi time or Arizona time. And it's just weird. And I'm like, is this what it's going to be like now? Because he's so tired all the time. And I feel so bad for him. So he has to be at work by 7:30, which is 6:30 our time. And then when he comes back, he loses an hour. So it's kind of like, poor guy. I just feel bad for him. But yeah,
it sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's just kind of like, so I don't know. But Ashley, you're awesome. I just want to say, like, thank you so much for having me on. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just kind of like, whatever. I don't really. I just like, when Heather invited me on, I was like, oh, yeah, you want me on? Oh, okay. Like, what are we gonna talk about? Just anything. It's like, what are we gonna say? But I'm such a big fan of all of you guys' channels and content. You guys are all amazing, and so I just wanted to say that before we jump off.
Kim. Yeah, this has been great. Thank you, Heather. And like, yeah, I think all of you are doing amazing, and that's the thing. Like, we're all doing the best we can and the best we can for our families, and we are all different people. Our kids are their own people, and like, there is not a one size fits all approach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm very grateful that you all were able to do it with me. I am in no way intending this to be like a mommy club thing. It's just first 3 people I asked, they said yes. So I was like, okay, yay me. So that's where we're at. But thank you so much. And maybe we will do another one another time, because you could do it every week and not cover everything, truly. So, all right. Thank you. Bye.